Hey everybody, this is Jay with Bonsai's Forever. Welcome to another episode, and today I'm going to be working on a blue rug juniper. I've got this little guy here. I got it from a garden center. So this is going to be a garden center to bonsai demonstration. I know I've done a lot of these, but I've never done a blue rug juniper. I've never had one, so this is going to be kind of exciting, hopefully for both of us. Gonna be a pretty cool tree. It's got some pretty decent shape to it already. As I looked it over, the trunk is kind of going, kind of tilted off to the side a little bit, and it's got a lot of foliage growing in a lot of different directions, and it looks like it's all really healthy foliage, and it's somewhat compact for the size of the trunk that it has here. So hopefully this turns out to be a pretty good bonsai right away. So we'll see. So the first thing I'm going to do is I think I'm going to take it out of the pot and take some of the soil off of it to see what we're working with. So let me grab a tray. Alright, so we're going to take it out of the pot, and this should slide out of the pot pretty easily. It's kind of flimsy in the pot as it is. Soil is kind of flimsy in the pot too. Save the pot over yonder. Alright, and I'm going to take my chopstick and I'm just going to clean up the surface to see where the root base starts on this tree. It does have some nice roots on the bottom here. They're pretty decent size, thick roots, nice feeder roots. They are definitely compost style roots, which, as we know, if we've done bonsai for any period of time, the roots in compost are long and narrow roots, and they just grow long feeder roots. And then once you get it into a bonsai container, that's when we can constrict the roots and make the main roots thicken up, and then the smaller roots will become finer and finer and shorter. So it looks like it's got pretty thick mat of roots right around the base of the tree here. I don't want to completely defoliate this bare root this tree, but it looks like they took a cutting from, say, a pot this size and put it into a larger pot and let it grow out. It doesn't look like they cleaned up the roots, the root mat at all, or broke it up to put it in that pot. It looks like they just put it in there. So all of this root mass here is from it being in that container that we just took it out of. It looks like, I don't know, looks like maybe a year's worth of growth. Over the winter, maybe. This might be over the winter growth, or they planted it in the spring and this is the summer and winter growth. It's what is it? February. It's early February, so that's what this could possibly be. Last year's cuttings. Looks like a pretty cool little tree just as it is right there. I know we're going to cut some stuff back and trim it up a little bit and style something. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but I'm going to do something with it here. So I'm going to take all of this off, honestly. I'm just going to take it all off because this is just a lot of nonsense. This will support the tree just fine. So this is what we're going to be working with here. I went from that giant pot to this tiny little thing, which is kind of what I was hoping for, actually. When I was looking at this tree, I was like, wow, that'd be a cute little tree to just throw into a small bonsai pot and be good to go. So I don't want to completely bare root this, but I do want to break up the roots that are going in a spiral around the root ball to keep it from continuing to do this. I want it to I want the roots to spread out and to actually establish themselves. And if you leave it like this, it's just going to continue to grow around in a circle and a circle. So I might have to completely bare root this tree to get it to have a radial root base to it. I'm going to try not to completely bare root it, but I think it's going to anyway. Because like this stuff here, this root is coming from the base of the tree and it's just growing around in a circle. And it's just a really long root that doesn't have much on it for feeder roots. So that's what our roots are kind of looking like right here. Not good roots for bonsai. I might have to repot this into a larger container for a while. Just thinking about what I want to do. Trying to figure out which direction the roots go is kind of interesting with this. Okay, so that's what we've got for roots. We've got some roots up on the trunk of the tree up here, and then some roots at the very base. So this was obviously a cutting. That's the base of the cutting right there. We're going to go ahead and cut some of the dead branches off the bottom here. I'm going to try not to cut these roots off, so I think I might keep those for now and pot the tree about like here in the pot. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to clean up some of the interior stuff here. Clean out some of this crotch growth here. Let all the weird stuff that fell into the pot. I think I'm going to leave some of this growth here just to have some options later on. I'm thinking maybe if you want to do some branches that are growing upwards. It's called a blue rug juniper for a reason. They grow kind of flat over the ground. So having stuff sticking up may or may not be the best idea. Because we could plant it at a kind of an upward angle like this and then move some of these branches upwards. So I'm going to grab a pot really quick. I think I'm going to use this pot here. If you've been keeping up with my videos, my last video I did a box store bonsai that was a ficus microcarpa in this pot. So I think I'm going to use this pot because I think this would look okay in here for now. Get the root structure going properly, because we want to constrict the roots so that they will stop being these long viney roots and turn into more of a bonsai style root base, because we want compact fine growth in the roots instead of really long viney roots. I'm not going to cut these back because this is what we've got right now to work with. We don't want to start over with the tree. It's already got roots going, so we want to keep those roots. And next time we pot it, we'll trim it back and it will be better and better each time we repot it. So I don't really see anywhere that I can tie this down. So I'm just going to make sure and get a good amount of soil in here to be able to pack the tree into the pot to where it'll hold itself in the pot. I'm going to grab a screen. And cut off a piece here. If you haven't watched my videos before, I really like using like screen door screen for the bottoms of my pots. I don't necessarily have a particular reason for that, other than I don't like dealing with unwiring the screen out of the bottom of the pot when I repot them. It just fits right down in the bottom there just fine. Keeps the soil from coming out of the pot. Grab my scooper. Put a layer of soil on the bottom of the pot there, and then I'm going to put the roots down into the pot. I want to try and keep them facing in a downward direction if I can. Normally we really don't like to bare root a tree. It's not ideal. It's not ideal for the health of the tree. So because I had to bare root this tree, I'm definitely going to be keeping it in the greenhouse and protecting it from the wind and the elements. I will definitely be watering it on a regular basis because you want to make sure that the tree stays moist while it's recovering from the repot here. I am going to be considerate of the planting angle. I'm still going to plant it in the proper angle that it was previously in the plot because I kind of like that. It looks pretty good as that being the planting angle. I'd rather it be in the center or closer to the center of the pot, but these roots are kind of fighting back here. I found that if you hold the tree right where you want it, nice and firm, and work the soil in, a lot of times that'll help hold the tree where it needs to be while you're working the soil down in there, and then it'll stay where it's supposed to be. These roots are not cooperating. I'm going to have to cut some of these back. It's also not ideal to unpot the tree after you've repotted it either, but this will work out. So these roots that are sticking up, I'm going to take these off because they're just coming right back out of the soil. this root right here is just way too long. I'm gonna cut that back. Like I said, I don't want to cut all these roots back, but there's really nothing on this root to help it out anyway. The ones with the feeder roots, I'm going to try and leave those. I like this root. This root's like super, super long. Also, it's got some feeder roots up here. I'll cut it off right here where the thick piece is. Leave the feeder roots. Alright, that should be better. Except this root's like sticking way up. I'm gonna cut that off where it bends. Alright, so that's what we got left. I'm gonna try and just pour the soil through the roots this time. Yeah, it's already looking better. I should have done that in the first place, so I just didn't want to take off more roots than I had to. And I guess I should have just done that. So if you don't bare root the tree, a lot of times the soil holding the roots will hold the roots in a direction that's not coming out of the soil, and it holds them together so that they're not like springy in the soil and moving the tree around. So you've got more of something to anchor to with the new bonsai soil going around it. I have bare root repotted junipers before, so I know that this is going to survive just fine, but it's just not ideal to do that for the health and development of the tree. You want it to, develop rather quickly at this stage, or as quickly as you can at this stage. You don't want it to like over fertilize it or anything like that, but this is in the beginning development stage of this tree. This is a very young tree. I don't know what age the mother tree was, this being a cutting, but this is now considered a very young tree. So we want to develop it, as quickly as we can to get it to bonsai. So that's going to do it for the soil there. So that actually looks a lot better, and it's a lot more sturdy in the pot by repotting it again and taking off some of those roots. There's still some roots that are sticking up over here. I'm not going to worry about those. They're coming off the side of the trunk. There's that. I'm going to water it in. The roots will be moist right now, because they were all dried out, and the soil is dry too, so I don't want to dry out the roots. And I haven't watered this tree in a couple of days. I mean, obviously you could see the soil was moist, but it wasn't wet, so it had enough water, but I just don't want to dry out the roots. because of the repotting. So I'm going to water it until the water comes out the bottom. I like watering it until the water comes out the bottom of the pot clean. It kind of cleans off the tiny particles in the bonsai soil, the stuff that as you're chopsticking it in there, it's breaking it up a little bit. You want to get that out of there, because that eventually having that in there will inhibit the water from going into the bonsai soil. It'll cause it to not be able to percolate. Dump this on the ground. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of look over the tree a little bit. I mean, honestly, I could just leave it like this and it'll grow perfectly fine. It'll look good. It already kind of looks like a bonsai tree, but we want to improve it. We don't want to cut off too much right now, because we did just bare root repot this, and I'm not going to wire it right now either, because I had to bare root it. So I don't want to cause it more stress than it needs. But one thing I am going to do is I'm going to get it started in looking like a bonsai tree, and I'm going to cut off some of the stuff that's absolutely not necessary for moving forward, like all the stuff in the crotches of the branches right at the base where each branch starts. I'm going to take all this out. And that opens it up so that it can get more air and be able to get more sunlight and all of that. So I'm going to take off just the really tiny pieces here. I'm going to just leave all the main branches and the secondary, or the secondary branches, which are the larger branches, and then all the tertiary branches on the secondary branches. I'm going to leave all that. And I'm not necessarily going to take off everything that's growing downwards, because later on I can wire this branch and orient the branch in, well, if I could grab the branch, orient it in a direction where everything's going laterally, like that. So we'll leave that on there. I think I'm going to take this one off. Doesn't look good. I'm going to get all the stuff that's underneath all the other branches, because eventually that's just going to die anyway. So getting rid of it now alleviates some of the utilized energy on it to gain more vigor on the rest of the tree. Trees have some really cool foliage on them. Really like it. It's not pokey, so it's actually kind of nice to work with this. Work with a lot of procumbens, and those things are really pokey. And also the cedars are really pokey also. So I said I was going to keep some of this, and I think I'm going to keep a couple of these pieces, but I'm going to take some of it out of here also. I'll leave this branch. I want to leave this branch, but I want to take this stuff off next to it. Ideally, you want to take off any branches that are inside of a curve on the tree. I'm going to take these pieces out. I'm going to take all this out of here. We can get back budding later once the tree's healthy also. Greenhouse is kind of noisy. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. I didn't take off too much. Just a few pieces that were really small on here. So this is what I took off of the tree. And that's not going to hinder the tree. That's actually going to help the tree out, because now it's opened up, and we'll be able to get more air through there, more light into it. And once it recovers from the repot, then the rest of this will be able to grow a little bit faster and better. I'm going to take this one off that's in the curve. I'm going to probably hang on to this piece, see if I can propagate it. One thing that I've learned about propagating junipers, you don't always have to use rooting hormone on them. If you plant the branch deep enough in the soil where you're planting a few of the branches in the soil, the branches will actually put roots out of them. So something that I learned recently. So I think that's going to do it for this tree for now. It looks pretty decent, kind of cute. And yeah, some of these crazy branches, we'll work with those later on. Wire them up, maybe I'll wire this one going upwards and make a cool apex on the tree up here, something like that, maybe. Let's see how it goes. I kind of like this tree. It looks really cool. Yeah, I like it. All right, so thanks for watching, and like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next one.